The IRS is the ultimate creditor.
Police needs a warrant to enter your house. The HMRC does not. They will just kick your door in and take your TV. What are the things founders should be thinking about when they're starting on that journey? How does that work in your head from the legal point of view?
Well, there's a lot there. And in the US, that is a highly litigated issue, both by the potential employee or independent contractor, as well as by the government agency. So, one thing to really understand here is that in how you classify an employee as an employee or a contractor is going to implicate the tax liability that the business has to the state and federal tax authorities. And the last thing any business wants to do is end up in litigation with a state or federal agency because you're going to lose and they're probably going to drag it out. They're going to have resources that you just can't match. So being very clear on what your tax obligations are, whether it's an employee or independent contractor, that's super important to make sure that you are compliant with state and federal law in the US with regards to tax payments, because you do not want to accrue a large tax bill. The IRS is the ultimate creditor and they can put you in jail. They do have guns. So you don't want to mess around with them. And the same states are very aggressive too. Some states more than other. California is very aggressive in collecting on taxes. And the tests that they use to determine whether somebody's an independent contractor or an employee are very heavily weighted towards finding that a person is an employee rather than an independent contractor. So you have to be extremely careful in how you classify. Do talk to an employment law attorney, especially in the jurisdictions your employees are coming from or your independent contractors are coming from. Make sure you have a good agreement. This is a place where having a form from the internet is probably not a good idea because the risk to your company is large, disproportionate. When you talk about litigation from the employee / independent contractor, who there are a lot of plaintiffs lawyers out there who will represent them and take a percentage of what's collected on a contingency fee. Those can just be pure nuisance lawsuits where they really don't have a case, but they know it's going to cost the business $100,000 to litigate and win, which at the end of the day, if you can pay them 50 and have them go away, they might take that deal. So you just want to be on point with regard to how you bring these people on board. Make sure you understand the proper classification, make sure you have a good agreement, and just try to mitigate all of that risk because it is significant.
I think that's excellent. Thomas, do you have any questions on this piece?
No, I mean, I've been working with a lot of US startups, and I would always argue that even with outsourcing, make sure that your contracts are watertight. As you said, jurisdiction matters. If you sign with an European entity, then European law is being used. If you sign with a US entity, then US law is used. And I think that people sometimes forget about that because they go with the assumption, yeah, but I am in state one or I am in country X. So, it goes for that. It's like, no, it goes where your business entity is and where the contract comes from, right?
For me also, the IRS, as is the HMRC in the UK, police needs a warrant to enter your house. The HMRC does not. They will just kick your door in and take your TV. That they've got the special dispensation, which is something that people don't really know. Right? You have that conversation over a barbecue. They're like, what? Like, yes, the taxman can come in and grab your stuff, and they are belligerent about it when you get to that point. So it is one of those things that's really worth considering and having top of mind when you're thinking about where you're going to set up your business. For me personally, do I want to go for a Delaware C being an English national? Probably not. Are there better options for me here in Europe? Definitely, right? So it depends on whether you want to have the IRS as someone that you or even want to be in the same room as or not. So I think it's a big deal, and it's also a big deal with respect to hiring people on a contractual role. For example, we experimented with hiring people from Latin America and sort of a program where we wanted to bring opportunity to that part of the world. And it was just really, really difficult to navigate their taxation system, ensuring that we were the right side of they are contractors performing a specific task versus performing a role. It's really difficult because you want to offer an opportunity, but there are all of these hurdles to being able to do that. And it's something to keep top of mind when you're thinking, all right, this is a contractor, or is this a firm? Is this a one-man show that's a company, or is it a company that has numerous people that are going to do the job for me? One of the things to think about when you're hiring an individual, especially here in the UK, is that you can hire them to do the job. You can't tell them how you want them to do it. And that's a really important differential when you ever get asked a question as to whether or not they're an employee or a contractor.